Camera number 102 of 365, and I've already reviewed the Pentax ME, where we now have the Pentax ME Super. Looking at the front of the camera here, we have the lens release. It's an aperture priority camera, which requires batteries to operate, although it does have a manual 125th, I believe, shutter speed. But let's just put some batteries into the camera. So the camera takes two LR44 batteries, and the positive terminal faces down into the camera. And then just simply put the lens cover back on. You'll notice that there is provision, there's a cover here that covers the motor wind on mechanism, and there's the contacts there. So you can put a film wind on. And then we also have the little button that releases the film advance and allows us to wind our film on. So looking through the viewfinder of the camera, the shutter speeds are on the left hand side, and then we have two LED or red lights, one at the top and one at the bottom. Particularly when we're on manual mode, that will appear. So let's just put the lens back on. Sorry, I got a bit lost then what I was doing, sorry. So looking at the top of the camera, we have our film speeds that we have to lift the collar and rotate. And then we also have exposure compensation built in around the dial there, which effectively changes the shutter speed of the camera and the meter as a consequence of that. On the right hand side, our film advance, and then just going through the dials, the dial here and the shutter actuation button, that locks the shutter actuation button, and then we return it to auto. The camera then becomes an aperture priority camera, so we set the shutter and the camera responds by setting the appropriate shutter speed. Did I say a shutter for the aperture? I meant aperture there, and that shutter speed. Just testing you. And then moving the dial one more takes it to manual, and then to change the shutter speeds we have to go up or down with the two buttons there. So there's no dial, that's done away with. And then finally we have B for bulb. Okay. Nice little feature here that shows that the film is actually on the reel and is winding on. Notice it doesn't wind on, but if there were a film in here and it was correctly attached, that would move, showing that our film is advancing. To put the film in the camera, we just simply lift the rewind crank as usual. And that's as far as that goes. Looking at the front of the camera, the lens is released by pressing the lens release button. Our flash sync port here, and then we have our self timer button, which actually we have to push. I always forget that, so I do apologise. There we go. Okay, and that's it. So let's put the lens back on, and then put the lens. There we go. So that's it. That's been camera number 102, the Pentax ME Super.